Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to Waves of Time. The topic for this winter season is short stories. So let's jump right into it. The title for this 8th episode in short stories is A Visitor. So here we go. John was in his second week of vacation from his job as a machinist, and he was in the front yard working in the family vegetable garden. The summer season was ending, and he was reaping the ripe tomatoes, cucumbers, beans, and peppers in the garden. Good morning! Good morning! A woman's voice punctured the silence. He thought that it was someone visiting his next door neighbor, and because he was not expecting a visitor, he continued to pick the red tomatoes. Mr. Thomas? John slowly turned to look in the direction of the voice. He saw a young, dark-skinned girl, someone he instantly judged to be about 18 or 19 years old. He was good at judging ages. She was dressed in blue jeans and a red t-shirt. Do you mind if I come in? She asked, pointing at the closed chain-link silver-color fence. Do you have a dog? John was not happy about being disturbed from his work. He was in a momentum, and he was right on schedule with his day's plans. His beautiful wife was at work, and his two children were at school, and he was planning on finishing up in the garden within the next hour before sitting in front of the TV to catch a live cricket game. The visitor did not have a Bible in her hand, and she did not look as though she was selling anything, although she had a backpack on her back. Maybe she's just looking for directions, he thought, and if that is the case, a 5-minute break will not hurt. Come in, he called. There's no dog. Thanks, she said, and lifted the latch on the gate. She entered the yard, and when she stood next to him, they were practically eye to eye. However, he was a broad guy, while she was thin, but a healthy thin. She smiled at him and stretched out her hand for a handshake. He quickly took off a glove and took hers in a firm handshake. My name is Andrea, and I believe that you're my father, she said. John stared at her as they both slowly let go of each other's hands. What are you talking about? He asked, looking around him, expecting to see someone jumping out of somewhere with a camera. My mom's name is Melanie Stone, Andrea said. The smile on her face was replaced with curiosity. Do you remember her? Does he remember her? Does he remember a Melanie Stone? Of course he remembers his first love. One day they were making plans to spend the rest of their lives together, and the next day she was gone. All she left him with was a goodbye letter. He could not speak, so he nodded. Do you want us to sit on the steps or something? Andre asked, indicating the 3 concreted steps that led to the front door. Your mom left me years ago, and when she did, she was not pregnant, John said. If you give me a chance, I can explain everything to you, she said. John nodded and cleared his throat. He looked at the vegetables he had picked. I can help you take the bowls inside, Andrea offered, looking at the full bowls of vegetables on the ground. Yes, thanks, he said. A few minutes later, they were sitting in the kitchen with both of them holding a can of drink in their hands. If it's okay with you, I'd like to continue by telling you what my mom told me, Andre said. John nodded. My mom said that the two of you met in the first year of high school and fell for each other, and up until she disappeared, you two were inseparable. Did she say the word disappeared? John asked. Andre smiled sadly. And for that moment, she was the perfect picture of the Melanie he remembered. A smile escaped from him as happy memories of a long buried time raced through his mind. Yes, she did. John nodded. She said that she was working at a fast food restaurant and attending night classes, and you were attending trade school and working as a machinist a few days during the week. John nodded as he said she was taking some accounting courses, and I used to pick her up in my car after classes. Yes, Andrea said, smiling. She told me so. She said you guys had many happy days. I thought those were happy days too, but he let his voice trail off. John took a long drink from his can of Sprite, and Andrea did the same. Do you remember having to stop the car one night on your way home because my mom had to throw up? John searched his mind and he found the memory. Yes, he said slowly. I remember that night. A bug was going around. Even I eventually caught it. Yes, initially my mom thought that it was a bug too, but she soon found out that it wasn't. She was pregnant with me. Then why didn't she share that news with me? She said that when she found out, she wanted to tell you right away, but she started thinking about her older sister who was pregnant and was still living at home. Andrea took a sip of her drink and then continued. Even today, my grandmother still rejects my older cousin because she sees him as the person who brings shame to her family. What? John asked. That doesn't make any sense. Your cousin is an innocent baby. He didn't do anything. Yeah, I know, but that's just how she sees it, and no one has ever been able to change her mind. I don't understand it either, but that's her position. John shook his head. My mom didn't want the same thing to happen with me. Wait, hold a minute, John said, raising a hand. What does her mom's rejection of the baby, you, have to do with her not telling me that I was going to be a father? Andrea slowly exhaled. Mom said that you were a good man, and she knew that you would have done the right thing and proposed to her, but that would not have been fair to either of you. Andrea paused as she allowed her words to reach him. She said that you were headed places, and a baby would have kept you from getting there. No, John said. Your mom and I were headed places. We, not just me. Yeah, well, she said that she was struggling in her night classes and she was thinking of quitting. But you were doing well, and a baby was only going to complicate things. So what? Life can be complicated. All she needed to do was talk with me. Andre nodded. Where did she go? John asked. She went to Lodge. Lodge was the capital city of a parish about 3 hours' drive from where John lived. Okay, he said, nodding. Is she still living there? Thanks for listening, guys. Goodbye.